isang tanong lang ako kay Carpio pati kay Albert. Kung bright kayo, bakit nawala ang West Philippine Sea sa atin? Panahon ninyo yun eh. Panahon ninyo na talagang nandiyan kayo sa pwesto. Kung bright kayo, bakit nawala ang ngayon na ng China ang China na ang naghahawak doon. Ako na yung nilulus-lus ninyo na magawa ng paraan. Hindi ko ipalaban yung mga sundalo ko. Kinanglan ko may laban, manalo tayo. Ako sabihin ko sa China, China, we can always call the Americans. But in so many instances, puro salita lang, that is stand by you. That would have been the moment to show to the world that they were with us by sending their superior ships. Bakit hindi nila ginawa? Yan ang tapos sabihin na we will stand by you. Kaya, kung nakaupakan doon, nandoon kayo. Wala, Pilipino, yung Coast Guard po lang. China, let it be known, is a good friend and we do not want trouble with them, especially war.
The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. President Rodrigo Duterte calls China a good friend of the Philippines, despite acknowledging the Asian superpower's hostile movements in the West Philippine Sea. So, how does the president plan on asserting our sovereignty over the disputed waters? To discuss this and other pertinent issues raised at last night's presidential address, we have Maricel Halili again reporting live from Mandaluyong. Good morning, Maricel. So what exactly did the president mean when he said that the Philippines is indebted to China?
Well, Charles, good morning. President Duterte last night discussed once again our issue on the West Philippine Sea. And just like his previous statements, President Duterte said that we are indebted to China. For one, we're having trouble getting more supplies of vaccines nowadays because of the global shortage of anti-COVID vaccine supply. But because of China, we're able to get more doses of Sinovac allotted for our frontliners and for senior citizens and for those with comorbidities. So this is one of the issues or one of the matters that the Chinese government helped the country. And so this is also one of the reasons why President Duterte wants to remain friends with China.
Marcel, let's just recap what the president has already said. He said that he does not want to go to war with China. That's a definite statement from the president. But then how exactly does President Duterte plan on asserting the country's sovereign claims over that area?
It's still the same, Charles. The president is still planning to push through with bilateral talks with the Chinese government to assert our rights over the West Philippine Sea. As we all know, our national government is currently having a parallel talks with the Chinese government, meaning while we're asserting our rights over the West Philippine Sea, over the disputed areas, we're also maintaining our relationship with the Chinese government to make sure that the administration.
But then will the president heed China's demand?
That's another story, Charles. President Duterte, our assets in the area, but when it comes to the issue of the Scarborough Shoal, it's another story. As we all know, President Duterte has been blaming the decision of former Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario during the standoff during the time of former President Noynoy Aquino, and he feels that former Secretary Albert Del Rosario and former Justice Antonio Carpio should not blame the current administration for whatever it is that we are facing right now in terms of the disputed island, because in the first place it was their fault why this particular area is now in the hands of China.
All right, the president did mention for former Supreme Court Justice Antonio Carpio and former DFA Chief Albert Del Rosario. And as we heard earlier, the president seemed to be partly blaming the two for our continuing troubles with China. Could you dive deeper here?
That's right. Charles, this has been the statement of President Duterte since he started holding his position in Malacanang. President Duterte has been blaming former Secretary Albert Del Rosario and former Justice Antonio Carpio for what happened. He was questioning the decision of Secretary Del Rosario for pulling out our assets from the Scarborough Shoal, from the disputed area, during the standoff at the time of former President Noynoy Aquino. He questioned how come that Del Rosario came up with this kind of decision. Now, it is difficult to take back the territory from China, where they already established their assets over the area. And he was also questioning our alliance with the American government. If it is indeed true that we are ally with the U.S., they should have brought their superior ships, their assets over the disputed area and help the Philippine government during that time to take what is ours. And it did not happen.
All right, so much for the West Philippine Sea issue, at least for now. Moving on to another topic, we have MECQ, the NCR Plus bubble that's been extended for 2 more weeks. But we have the president apologizing for having to do this. What exactly did he have to say?
That's right. President Duterte apologized last night, particularly to ordinary people who have been affected because of the decision of restricted community quarantine. The president is well aware that a lot of people lose their job because of the imposition of modified enhanced community quarantine. But he said that he has no other choice since the medical experts have already advised him that there is a need for another extension of MECQ to make sure that we will continue to the downward trend on the number of COVID cases will continue.
Now, of course, we are all hoping that they have made the right call this time. But then let's talk about these community pantries. We have DILG Secretary Ed Año reiterating certain guidelines for the conduct of community pantries, emphasizing that, quote, EPAL is a no-no. So what are these guidelines exactly? And what did the secretary mean when he said bawal ang EPAL?
EPAL, particularly to those politicians who are starting or who feels that they have to start campaigning by using community pantry for more exposure. So he actually warned those politicians that they are not allowed to post tarpaulin, posters, or images which can actually help them boost their popularities. And of course, Secretary Año, by the way, this is the first time Secretary Año attended to talk to the people of President Duterte after a long break. Secretary Año said last night that the organizers of community pantry are encouraged to coordinate with the local government unit just to make sure that the minimum health standards will be followed during the distribution of goods and assistance to ordinary people. But there is no need to issue a permit, just coordination. And of course, they have to make sure that the minimum health protocols are being followed to make sure that the event won't be a super spreader.
Yeah, and para sulit this additional period that we're experiencing under MECQ, thank you for those updates. That was Maricel Halili reporting live from Mandaluyong. A fresh batch of vaccines purchased by the Philippine government has arrived in the country as of today. Let's get more details from Justine Ponsalang. She's reporting live from Manila. Good morning, Justine. Could you tell us the latest brand of vaccines that we've got and how many doses?
Charles, additional 500,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines manufactured by Sinovac from China arrived in the country this morning. And just like other recent delivery of vaccines, this batch was brought to the PharmaServe Express storage facility in Marikina. The 500,000 doses of Sinovac vaccines arrived at NAIA Terminal 2 at 7:05 this morning. This batch of Sinovac shots was purchased by the government from China and was carried by Cebu Pacific chartered flight 5J671 from Beijing. Present during the arrival was NTF Chief Implementor and Vaccine Czar Carlito Galvez Jr., who said that the government will immediately distribute the vaccines within a week in areas inside the NCR Plus bubble. Galvez also said that they are expecting the arrival of additional 1.5 million Sinovac vaccines by May 7 and 15,000 doses of Russia's Sputnik V by May 1. He added that while India is badly suffering COVID-19, we can still expect the arrival of their Novavax shots as well as the Indian manufactured booster shots by June. Also by June, the government is hoping to receive around 2.3 million doses of Pfizer vaccines from the COVAX facility. More AstraZeneca vaccines are meanwhile expected to arrive as early as next month. By 8:05 this morning, the Sinovac vaccines left NAIA en route to Marikina. Officials explained that PharmaServe Express was chosen as the new storage facility for the latest batches of vaccines because it can accommodate wider temperature requirements. It also has the capacity of storing 15 million vaccine doses. Charles, at 8:47 this morning, the Sinovac vaccines already arrived at the PharmaServe Express Cold Storage Facility in Marikina. An inventory and inspection of the vaccines will be conducted first before these will be distributed to different hospitals within the NCR Plus bubble. Charles?
Thanks for that, Justine. That was Justine Punsalang reporting live from Manila. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says the past year has been a stark reminder that access to reliable information is more than just a basic human right. Guterres explains that the pandemic has been accompanied by an enormous infodemic marred by the proliferation of fake news. In an online discussion for World Press Freedom Day, Guterres flagged threats to independent and fact-based reporting. He thus urged the international community to step up or otherwise face irreparable damage to society.
Misinformation and hate speech have proliferated, jeopardizing the health of millions of people worldwide, undermining confidence in vaccines and science, and dividing communities and countries. The pandemic has had another very dangerous side effect. It has accelerated the financial decline of many public interest media organizations.
During the discussion, Rappler executive Maria Ressa said that while there's COVID in the real world, there's also COVID in the virtual world.
This virus of lies infects real people. And when real people are infected, they become impervious to facts. If we don't have facts, then we don't have a shared reality, right? So think a lie told a million times becomes a fact. Without facts, we can't have truth. Without truth, we can't have trust.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.